Welcome, everyone. Very warm welcome to today's call, which is the third call in the series of calls on diaspora, on forced migration, focusing on Europe. But of course, we're all aware that this is a global phenomenon and that more and more people are being forced into migration and refugee status around the world each year. And after focusing on the African diaspora in Europe, and then yesterday on the Syrian diaspora, today we will focus on the Ukrainian diaspora. And we know that each time when we address one of these topics, there is a lot of pain that we touch on, which lies behind the migration in the experience of being in a foreign place, a foreign country, trying to build a new home, but also the longing for the country of origin, the home. And for our Ukrainian refugees, yeah, so also just the longing for home. And for the Ukrainians, the specificity that you are facing is the deep concern for your loved ones at home, which of course is not so dissimilar for many of the other groups. Yeah, the armed conflict in Ukraine has escalated into a full-scale war in February 2022. And this has forced around 15 million people out of the country, Ukraine, who have either become refugees or are living in areas that have now been annexed by Russia. A further 5 million Ukrainians have been displaced internally. So around a third of the Ukrainian population has been displaced. Yeah, and we will again use the practice of global social witnessing to offer a space to relate into this experience and to relate with you who are here with us, who are in this situation. There is a speciality about today's session in that all four amazing Ukrainian women who will be sharing with us today are in some way related to the Pocket Project. You're all part of our teams of therapists, or Daria is a key cornerstone of our team and is coordinating the Ukrainian support project. So it feels very close and intimate to be hearing from you. Yeah, and before we go more deeply into it, as always, I will introduce the practice of global social witnessing and also offer a short attunement. But it would be lovely, oh, now you're gone again, just to hear a few words from you, Daria, before we move into the attunement and the global social witnessing introduction.
I share that it feels to me really special today to be here in the course of last few calls. I feel like it's really opening a new space inside me and also in our collective vessel. And I really look forward to hearing from our colleagues today. I sincerely miss them and miss the connection. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. I would like to share from the bottom of my heart and sincerely how is my experience. I am not a refugee myself, but I'm Ukrainian and I also am in the midst of questioning, shall I emigrate? How would that be for me? So I also have something to share, and thank you so much. Really looking forward to today's connection.
Great, thank you, Daria. And as we slowly move to a space where we will be listening to voices, sharing from the Ukrainian experience with us, just keep a part of your witnessing awareness inside yourself, closely, intimately connected to your body, your emotion, your mind. But you may also decide to keep a part of your awareness anchored in the group being that is here. Because the quality of our attention, the quality of our shared witnessing, of our shared grounding, is what offers us a deeper place from which to listen and to relate. Yeah, and in global social witnessing, this is what we keep coming back to notice our bodies, our emotions, our mind. And we slow down and pay attention to where we can stay related to what we're hearing, but also where we contract. When we hear about painful experience, it happens very quickly that parts in us are touched, parts in our ancestral collective trauma are touched. And we can watch this as we watch our own bodies, emotions, mind open or withdraw, contract, or even becoming absent. Yeah, and as we relate more, our emotions might become stronger, you know. So we can also see how deep can I go with this? And each of us looks at what is the space that I can host for my inner health. So global social witnessing is not about pushing us into full relatedness, full witnessing, but really about this care for ourselves as we move into this practice. And as we grow our witnessing for each other, but also for ourselves, we can take more responsibility for the places where we step out of relatedness. And this is where we become truly global citizens. In the places where we start taking responsibility, where we don't cut off from each other unconsciously, but when we need to cut off or withdraw, we do it consciously. So our aim is not to stay fully related in every moment. Our aim is to take responsibility for where we can stay related and where we need to withdraw a bit. Yeah, and from these places, slowly but surely, we learn to become a more conscious collective body for each other, to bring more conscious compassion to each other, to stop projecting in those places where we need to withdraw, that the others are far away, but to really take to ourselves that these are places where we need to withdraw. Yeah, and from that, our ability to truly relate and truly respond grows. And we feel deeply, deeply honored to have Daria as part of our team, Pocket Project team. And Daria, I'll just hand it over to you for you to start sharing about your experience. You're not a refugee right now, but as you shared, you're coming close to the place where you're really considering leaving the country. Yeah, and how are you? How are you today? Over to you.
Thank you, Kosha. I feel like today everyone knows a little bit more about myself and what I'm really doing in Kiev, why I really cannot leave my little lab in the city center. Yeah. Thank you so much for this possibility to share. I feel really privileged to have those moments when I'm invited to share. It really helps me to process my experience. Yeah, today I feel like my heart is aching. I feel this pain in my heart. Especially, I feel like in the course of the last few days, there were many situations where I heard or I saw how Ukrainian refugees might be more privileged than other refugee groups. And I feel like it might put me as a Ukrainian, even though not a refugee, but a Ukrainian, in a really vulnerable position. And I feel like my first reaction was that it feels like I'm a scapegoat of the system or so, where there already was this hierarchy in the system or something, and the war in Ukraine might just illustrate it more vividly. And I feel like as a Ukrainian, it invites lots of space inside me to host this complexity, not to feel overwhelmed or not to feel guilty. So I'm processing a lot right now, lots of emotions. Yeah, I can share that I'm feeling generally really sad, and it's hard for me to share because I want to close. I shared it before on previous global social witnessing calls that when the war started, my first reaction was that there is no safe space in the world right now. And with the time, I felt like, no, there is Europe, there is America, lots of safe spaces. I just need to choose to go there. And now I feel like, even though I'm not even a refugee, I'm sorry for my emotional reaction. I'm not in the bad position at all. I feel like now again I have this flashback of not having a safe space, because by coming to a safer place, I might hurt someone who might need this safe space more. I don't want to hurt no one. I just want to be safe. I know that the world is sick of our war.
Daria, I just feel like, you're touching such painful places and painful thoughts also. I just want to make sure that you know that there's enough space for you here and that we are really listening to you. And I don't know whether you are in gallery view. You are, that's good. Yeah, just inviting you to maybe just take a moment as you share about something that is so painful that you can notice that we're here with you. Not to make it better, because what you are experiencing, this, what you just said, not just do you have a war, but you're also experiencing that Ukrainian refugees are maybe less welcome because you are more privileged than other refugees, and that some parts of the world are becoming sick and tired of the Ukrainian war and don't want to hear about it anymore. And just to feel the pain of that with you, yeah. And maybe I'll just stay here while you continue sharing, just to also make sure that you're not alone. Yeah. And also just feeling, the feedback also in the chat, that you also can see it, that this is a safe space right now for you here. Yeah.
Thank you, Kosha.
Back to you, dear.
Yeah. I also feel really ashamed. Because there's not much what I can do to contribute to the more fair resourcing of all refugees. And there is not much, but I feel like I can contribute really small part, but the amount of shame and guilt I receive is like all for all Ukrainians. So there is this imbalance. I also feel really sad and sorry for other refugee groups. I'm really sorry. And I'm sorry for Europeans and other countries who are hosting. Yeah. I feel hopeless in this place.
Yeah, I think we can all feel with you. It's like a double bind, you're a victim, then you become a perpetrator without even consciously, you know, and you're not creating those systems, right? And yeah, I feel like it's one of those extremely painful situations, and it's good to just breathe into it.
Yeah, I feel like I need some time and space to come up with an internal solution. How can I be with it right now? Because there's no answer right now, and this is probably why I want to shut down, to sit and feel and think, how do I even behave from this position? Yeah, it's complex. I feel like it requires lots of mature energy and also lots of vision. Yeah, I feel complete. Thank you so much for listening, for support. I feel much lighter now, actually, because it was really intense for me yesterday, and today I was walking with it in my heart, and now I feel like part of it is shared with the group. Thank you for this possibility.
Yeah, thank you. And I think much of what we see in the world at the moment, there are no easy solutions, as we know. And somehow just sharing and witnessing offers more space around it. Yeah, so thank you so much for allowing yourself to be so vulnerable and present, Daria. And not protecting yourself from the discomfort of feeling all these different aspects of the situation. And I think all of us just want to wrap you in cotton and keep you safe and make you a tea. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, and in the midst of that, Daria continues to do an amazing work in the Ukraine Support Project. And yeah, to also see how this goes hand in hand, doing such meaningful work and yeah, feeling the pain today. Thank you, Daria. Yeah, and there'll be space for you to add more if you like. Yeah, and next we will hear from Larissa. So Larissa is currently in Stuttgart, Germany. She used to be a Russian language teacher before she became a psychologist. Positive psychotherapy is her specialization. And we are very honored and grateful, Larissa, that you're also part of our Pocket Project team of therapists. Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. You know, you are in Germany in a situation where it's true, Ukrainians have certain privileges compared to other refugees. And at the same time, what a challenging situation you are in. So we just love to hear from you how you are, what is alive in your heart and your body today. What would you like to share with us? Over to you.
Thank you, Kosha, for introduction. I really thank to everyone who are unified here at this platform. It's very important for me, your presence. So here I want to share with you, and maybe you will see my tears. I don't want to add some drama, but I want to ask you healing. I haven't talked a lot about war. And this is a topic for me that causes tears. And when we are crying, so these are the words of our souls. Thank you all. I want to tell my story. I was born in the northern part of Ukraine. It's Sumy region, close to Kharkiv, where Daria was born. So this is the border part of Ukraine that has borders with Russia. And um, and I was very glad that I was living close to the borders, because Belarus and Russia, they were so-called friendly countries. We have different markets altogether. We have joint holidays. There were a lot of songs. And these fairs, there was some so open. And since the childhood, we knew that Russia is our friend. But in February 2022, my region was occupied, and the tanks went to my country. And I saw that our neighbors that were our friends earlier occupied my country. Earlier on the TV, we heard that there are a lot of military close to the borders from the Belarusian side, and we thought that were just some trainings. And we were sure that this nightmare was only for 3 days. And we went to the shelters. It was so shock for us. We cannot believe it. So our illusion was changed because we had the air strikes. It was very difficult to us to accept the truth about the relationships between the countries. the air bombs destroyed fully the house with the family inside. And we understood that we have no chance to stay safe in our houses because our place was occupied from 3 sides, and we were finding any ways to get away from there. And we understand that we can be safe on the border with Poland. So it was very cold. It was March. And at that moment, I understood that I need to become a space for my children, to tell them that everything will be okay. And it was for children to go to another country, to go to safe place. And the war has almost has changed our lives because you understood that there are so few things you really need in your life. For me, it's already a year as I stay in Germany. And I want to say that the restoration, renewal of belief that the life has sense. Before the war, all of us and all the world has gone through the COVID pandemic. And I want to say that I'm very grateful to all the people, to all European countries who opened their borders for us, for Ukrainians. They give us the atmosphere of safety. They talk to our children because children became very closed and they were very afraid. And in those dramatic days, I thought, what are the common things for all the people? I compassion to Daria, who stay in Ukraine, because staying in Ukraine here, it's heroism. There are a lot of challenges for living in winter, and the next winter will also be very dramatic and also be very challenging. And I know that there is hope that people listen to us and they hear us. I worked with different organizations online. And thanks God, I stay here in Germany and I can sleep well, but there are some contradictions because when the war is lasting, you cannot stay safe because you worrying about the people you love that stay in Ukraine. And you need to do anything for yourself to stabilize yourself, and then in your turn to stabilize other people. So I'm very great. I'm very thankful that I'm here in Germany. I met people who helped me. I met those people, and my frozen heart began to melt. And I understand that I have some possibilities, have capacity to support others. We have so many emotions and we are afraid to share them to bother other people.
Yeah.
We have we have the problem that we don't speak German. Children that came to another country, they can go to school, but for them it's difficult to say what they feel. I want to say to the words of Viktor Frankl. So it was a time for dramatic optimism. Yes, we Ukrainians, we live in drama. And we don't want to share this drama to the whole world. But we do, but we can give each other support here when we stay in Germany or in other countries, when we stay in a safe place. I think that we need, it's our goal to help other people.
Yeah. Wow, thank you, Larissa. That was very powerful. Yeah, and let's just take a time to listen to you for a moment in silence because you shared a lot. And I think it touched many places in you and in us. So let's just give it a moment to land. Yeah, and you can also feel the echo of your sharing in your own nervous system, and maybe also see the group and notice how your words land in the group. Yeah, exactly. And we can breathe together for a moment.
Thank you very much for the support. I feel this shared space. It's very touching, and thank you very much that you are present in this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Larissa, and thank you, everyone. And I think immediately when we listen to Larissa, we can all notice the places, I think even Larissa, where some of the experience are so painful that it is hard to be with them, to stay with them. And that we can have compassion with a world that wants to turn away sometimes from these places that are so difficult. And that we have beautiful human beings like you, like our Syrian friends, like our African friends that are forced to go through these experiences. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Larissa, and we will next go to Katerina, who has lived in Kiev all of your life, never dreaming of other countries, but then forced to leave when the war started. And I know that you have been in Germany for a long time. And then you have decided to leave Germany again. I think you were in Dresden in Germany. And you decided to leave Germany again because you did not feel as comfortable and as at home in Germany. And you moved to Georgia. And I think it will be interesting for us to hear about it. And I also ask you, because the time passes quite quickly as we share, to just, if you can, notice the time and just keep it at 5, 7, at the most 10 minutes. But over to you, and we look forward to hearing from you, Katerina. Thank you.
Good evening. I think that my story is more happy. We have the hearing that the war will start, but no one believes in it, because we cannot imagine that they will attack the civilians. My husband called me and told me to take things, take children, and go away from Kiev. It was on the 10th of February, and I couldn't imagine at that moment how it would be. I told the children that we have some unplanned vacations. Of course, the children were very glad to hear that. And we left Ukraine. My husband came from the business trip. We stayed in a small village in the Transcarpathia region. But we have the feeling that it cannot be real. We cannot believe into this situation till the end. at the so when there were no results of the first negotiations, I understood as adult that that will last for a long time, and decided to go away from the country because of children. I don't want that they even feel, even touch any element of the war. And I didn't know whether they will allow my husband to go together with us. But in our case, they allowed my husband to go together with us, and we stay all together. Some of our friends invited us to stay in Poland till the Easter. But we went to our relatives to Germany, so our family of 5 people, we went to Germany. And we were just waiting when these 2 or 3 weeks end and we go back home. But the time was going by, and understand that it's not comfortable to leave 10 people in one apartment. And we began to use the German aid. So we are very grateful to German, and we were not, we cannot realize till the end that it is possible to give so much help and assistance to unknown people. We spent a lot of time reading the news about the bombing of our country. There were a lot of cultural events, all the museums, there were a lot of theater performances for Ukrainians. But for me, at that moment, it wasn't so important. I lived just like a black and white film. Children were very against moving from Ukraine because they were missing their friends. And my daughter said that she will go back to Ukraine. When you are, and we tell her, when you are 18, you may do everything you want. But our main goal was to save their lives. But the children were very nervous at the moment. They had some skin irritations because of stress. But step by step, we begin to learn German. to go to school, to kindergartens. But we had the feeling that we stay in a foreign country, getting the financial aid. And my husband was offered a job here in Georgia. That's why we moved to this country. But my elder daughter stayed with my relatives in Germany because she has finished the Ukrainian school and German school and need to build her own life. And we had this separation with the oldest child, the eldest. Here in Georgia, we rented the apartment for our own money. It should be a so happy event, but I feel as I am at the funeral. I wouldn't like to move to this house, but I want to get back to my apartment. There were no windows. The windows were broken because of attacks in my apartment, but the neighbors has already ordered the new ones, and they will installed. But here in Georgia, there are a lot of Russians too. And for example, at school, 95% of the classmates of my children are also Russian children. And it's very difficult for me and to children. You know, we are safe in some physical aspect. I cannot name these people as friends, but they also left their country in the way, so it can be the way of protest against the policy that their country has. So I have such anxious, I feel some anxiety because I need to see who surrounds me and who surrounds my children.
Thank you, Katerina. And again, we can feel the anguish and the pain in what you shared, and how these histories also tear families apart, and the pain of that. And the anxiety you feel around safety, even in the situation in Georgia. And maybe you can also just take a moment to breathe in what you have shared with us and see how you are now. And also allow it to land more deeply in us, that there is enough space for it. I notice my body still needs time to allow it to come in and land. Maybe you can just tell us the name of your oldest child, your daughter, before you leave.
Her name
Anastasia.
is Anastasia.
I'm sure she is beautiful, a beautiful young woman. Yeah, I'm just feeling your love for Anastasia and our care for you and your daughter and your family. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and it really feels as if our global social witnessing space is not quite big enough to hold everything you have to share, right? I feel the intensity and the depth of what you're sharing, and I can feel our collective body also stretching, you know, to offer space. Yeah, and maybe it's good just to give it another minute as we all feel in our bodies what is happening in our bodies, in our emotions, our mind. And maybe we all go back to the gallery view for a moment and just feel our shared space here. Yeah, and we also want to offer space to Irina. Irina, who's currently in Aachen, in Germany, where psychology is her second degree, and you're from Kharkiv, and you've also been in Germany for almost 1.5 years. And yeah, I will ask you, I need to ask you to also keep an eye on the time and to share in a way that leaves us some space for processing before the end of our time. And thank you so much, Irina, for being with us today. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you very much for this space. I'm very glad to see everyone here today. I stay in Germany now. And recently, I began to understand that I feel well here. It's not that I feel like at home here. I cannot feel as at home because I am a refugee and I am displaced person for 2 times because I was born in the Crimea. And since 2014, I cannot go to the Crimea to visit my parents. I have no possibility to meet them. And my home is in Kharkiv, but the building was also damaged because of bombing. But I cannot return to Kharkiv. I feel like I'm suspended in the air, but I'm very grateful to Germany and to German people. And the conditions are very convenient and transparent how to stay here. We have the choice to stay here or go back home. And such a democratic position is very important for me. And I feel that German society is more developed in the democratic way. And I'm very glad that I'm here and I can expand this experience into Ukrainian society in the future. I'm very glad to stay here, but it's very difficult to feel all this beauty, all these possibilities, because of great anxiety of people who stay in Kiev, because I have a lot of people in Kiev. And I cooperate with organizations who help people to go from the occupied territories, because it's very difficult to go from there. They are not allowed to leave the occupied territories because the people are hidden. I have some special connection with those people. And I'm very grateful for the purpose that I can give support to other people. I'm in a safe place, but I feel the pain from the war that is still lasting. Thank you for possibility to share with all of you.
Oh, thank you, Irina. Yeah, and it feels like you brought a whole next layer with your parents in Crimea, and you're not being able to be with them and visit them. Yeah, and let's just again give a minute just to the breathing of what you shared. And I'm deeply touched by all of your willingness to share, your vulnerability. I think Daria opened a space of really authenticity and depth, and your hearts feel so big. Yeah, thank you. And maybe we just, because we're nearly at the end of the time, maybe that Sunita, you could just help bring all of our Ukrainian people who shared online so we can really thank you all with, for the generosity of your sharing. Great. Yeah, let's just take a moment to see you. Four amazing, heartful, beautiful women. And deep appreciation to you for your courage, your willingness to share so deeply with us. And may our love and our care be palpable to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I think, Janet, you raised your hand for a moment. I wondered whether you would like to come online. I see you also just wrote in the chat.
Sorry, I raised my hand by accident.
Okay, that's fine. It's still lovely to hear your voice. Yeah. Yeah, in that case, if anybody wishes to share, please, you are welcome. But otherwise, we could also just, I'll just remove the spotlight for now. Yeah, just really come back to our community here, and let's just maybe take a moment to even write in the chat, how are you now? If there's anything you would like to share, a word, it would be lovely to just allow our collective body to breathe also by sharing. Yeah, and also if you don't have an impulse to share, to just allow your breath to be with our breath so that we continue to bring this to the space. Yeah, moved and touched. Yeah, touch deeper to be more present for Ukraine. Yeah, I notice I'm glad that Sunita is here, and part of me would love our Syrian and African refugees to also be here today, because I think it's also so important to see each other across these different spaces, you know. Yeah, feeling soft inside and tears flowing, stretched in a sacred way. Yeah, Deb, grateful to have had the three experiences over the 3 years. Sunita and I were sharing before that, wow, this was intense to have these three events close, but also that it provided a very special awareness aspect of seeing these experiences so closely together, very stretching for my heart and very intense and very moving, shifting, changing. Yeah, and also Lauren just, hearing. And I think you also shared, right, that your ancestors come from Kiev originally, so that this will touch you very deeply. Yeah, that we're with you in that place. Yeah, thanks, Edith, Inika, Edelgard, Liliana. Yeah. And it's true, we are building our capacity Liliana. You're absolutely right. I want to thank you all for your willingness to sit in the discomfort of listening to challenging experience, to stay with spaces where usually we turn away. And I notice in myself, and I'm sure you notice in you, that we are supporting each other to stay. That this is not necessarily something that we would just choose on our own, but being part of this community helps us. And that this is a training. We're learning together. So, huge thank you to all of us, especially to you, Larissa, Katerina, Irina, Daria. And Daria, if you would like to share anything before we complete. I'm just looking at you. You can just nod if so. Yeah. Over to you.
Thank you. I wanted to say huge thank you to you, Kosha, to everyone who shared, to the group, to the translators for making it possible. I also feel like today's meeting is also connecting in a way or finishing the role of pause. And I read in the chat that Ineke shared that I also feel that 3 sessions haven't reached my understanding. It's same for me. Thank you so much for this possibility, and it brings hope. I really wish for more spaces like this in our world. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. And with that, we come to the end of our call. Again, we will next week on the 26th, we'll have the Collective Trauma Online Summit starting. So you're warmly invited to sign up for that. And there will be a lot of possibility of enrichment there. And also, I imagine that you're all part of the Pocket Project newsletter. If not, do sign up. And we will start sharing, maybe as soon as next Friday, the first bits of information about the next round of international labs, which is different spaces that will journey together. So you have the chance to join a smaller group of 20 to 100 people as they explore a specific area of collective trauma over a year. And we will share more about this. We won't be able to address all of the topics that we have in the world, especially because the facilitation team is still in training and we're quite privileged group at the moment that is going on this journey. But we'll let you know more, and we hope to meet many of you in many different ways as we journey on, growing our collective healing capacity as humanity. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this. And let's complete just with 1 minute of silence and prayer for the safety and the well-being of Ukrainians, of Ukraine. And thank you also, Ukrainians, Ukraine, for teaching us in the Pocket Project, because we've been traveling closely and with the Ukraine Support Project. We're on our way to also expand it to become more of a global support project. But we're so grateful for everything we are learning from you and your wisdom and your care. So thank you, and be safe, be well, and we look forward to connecting again soon. Much love to everyone.